Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to my channel. Today I'm a little under the weather, so you'll have to excuse my voice if it sounds a little raspy. But today I'm going to continue on from where I left off in my last video. In my last video, I was able to create a health and damage system that allows me to shoot at different hitboxes, causing different amounts of damage to the enemies in my game. But if you remember, I was running into one small problem, and that was due to tunneling or skip over, where if the projectiles are moving too fast, they'll actually pass through the enemy without registering the on-trigger event. Now, to put it simply, the main reason why I'm getting tunneling is because the projectiles are driven by physics. And I'll actually try to put out a separate dedicated video about tunneling and skip over. But for now, let me show you how I fixed this issue. Now, there's actually several different ways that I could go about resolving this issue, and I actually had to do a couple iterations before I came to what I feel like will work best for my game. The simplest of these solutions is to switch from actual projectiles to what's referred to as hit scanning or using raycasts. But my solution is actually a hybrid between projectiles and hit scans. But maybe in the future I'll put out a video discussing these different solutions and weighing out their pros and cons. But first I'll play through my project and show you how much it's improved. Alright, so here I have my first person controller and I have my enemy unit, and if I shoot at them, you can see every time it hits, I get a marker. And there I've done enough damage that it destroys the enemy. So here I have my projectile prefab selected, and I'm going to open up the projectile script. Now some of these variables we either already had in the script or they're pretty easy to understand. We've got some floats related to damage, speed, and distance, a layer mask for matching interactions. I have a bool for if we want to use sphere casts or raycasts, a float for the sphere cast radius. These transforms are related to the impact prefabs. I then have our rigid body, a vector 3 for last position, a float for distance traveled, and a bool for has impacted. In the start function, we want to set the last position equal to the current position. We want to set traveled equal to 0, and has impact equal to false. Now here I've added a public void function which I've called fire, and this function has 3 float parameters, one for damage override, speed override, and max distance override. Now with the old system from the low poly shooter pack, it was the weapon that would actually set the velocity of the projectile. Basically, the weapon would instantiate the projectile on its needed position and rotation, and then immediately set its velocity. This is something that I wanted to change for my project. The weapon is still instantiating the projectile with its needed position and rotation, but then the weapon is passing the damage, the speed, and the max distance onto the projectile. It's then here in the fire function for the projectile that I'm setting those 3 variables with their incoming parameters. And then in here, I'm setting the velocity of the projectile. Now the main reason why I'm making this change is because in order to fix the tunneling issue, I have to create a smarter bullet. And so it just makes sense to have the bullet aware of its own damage, speed, and max distance. So where we go from here is on to the fix update function. So the first thing I'm doing is checking to make sure that the bullet hasn't impacted anything already. If it has, then I'm going to return. This is where I'd add code if I want to have bullet penetration. I'm then setting a local vector 3 called current position equal to transform.position. I then have a local float called step distance. I'm setting it equal to vector 3.distance. I'm going between last position and current position. I'm then adding to the traveled variable plus equals step distance. I can then see if my projectile has traveled the max distance, so I have if max distance is greater than 0 and traveled is greater than or equal to max distance. Then we want to destroy this game object and return. I then have an if statement where I'm checking to see if step distance is greater than a minimum distance buffer. If it is, then we want to get the world space direction between our last position and our current position. So I have a local vector 3 called direction, and I'm setting it equal to current position minus last position, and that's all divided by step distance. I'm then calling a function called doSweep. I'm passing in last position, direction, and step distance. And down here we can see the doSweep function. It has 2 vector 3 parameters, one called start, another called direction, and a float called distance. The first thing I'm doing inside this function is creating a local raycast hit variable called hit. And this is actually where you could add an if statement to determine whether or not you want to use a sphere cast or a raycast. In my project, I just decided to go with a sphere cast even though I have that bool variable. So here I have an if statement where I'm doing the sphere cast. I have physics.spherecast. I'm passing in our start position, our sweep radius, the direction, and I'm outing the hit. I'm also passing in the distance to travel and the sweep mask layer mask. Now if this is true, then it means that we've hit an object that we're allowing our projectile to interact with. And so inside this if statement, I have has impact equals true. a local variable of var called hitbox, and I'm setting it equal to hit.collider.getComponent, and we're looking for a damage hitbox. If hitbox does not equal null, then it means that there's an object that we can do damage to, and so I have hitbox.applyDamage, and I'm passing in base damage. Outside this if statement, I'm also calling a function called spawnImpactByTag. And this is a function that I can do a separate video on, but it's essentially what's instantiating the bullet impact. And the last thing I'm doing inside our doSweep function is destroying the current projectile object. So if I go back up to where our doSweep is being called inside our fixed update function, the last thing I'm doing inside our fixed update function is setting our last position equal to our current position. That way, for the next fixed update, we'll be able to repeat the same hit scan, but between this last position and the new current position. So with all this code created, I can save my scripts and go back to Unity. Inside Unity, I just need to make sure that all my variables are set inside the projectile script, especially the layer mask. And with this new system, I can actually delete the box collider from my projectile. So with that, I'm actually going to duplicate a couple more enemies into my scene. So now if I shoot at the different enemies, you can see I'm doing damage, and I can destroy them with enough bullets. The other nice thing with this new system is that the damage and impacts are actually synced with the projectile itself. Where with the basic hit scan system, if you have any projectiles, they're just visual, and they don't always sync up with the damage. But with my system, I can actually scoot back as far as I want. And the damage will be registered when the projectile hits the enemy. We'll see if I can get a headshot. Now that's everything I'm going to cover in this video on how to make a smarter projectile for your first-person shooter that will fix any tunneling issues you might have. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And subscribe to my channel so you can be up to date whenever I publish new videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.